Good day to our panelists. We are a group from UMS 12-8, and today we are here to present to you our research paper, a correlational study between academic performance and level of acceptance among LGBTQIA students in Our Lady of Fatima, Quezon City campus. Baklayan, pero matalino yan. Translated as is gay, but at least is smart. It's the phrase that the queer community often hears that offset their identity. Kung saan ang mga tao ay una-muna nagsasabi ng positibong trait bago sabihin na sila ay bakla, para i-mask ito bilang isang compensation. Ano nga ba ang LGBTQ o ang pagiging bakla? According kay Wimberly 2015, ito ay isang umbrella term para sa mga tawang associated with lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgender, and queer individuals. And despite increasing awareness and legal strife towards equality, marami pa rin sa mga miyembro ng LGBTQIA sa Pilipinas ay nakakaranas ng discrimination, especially sa loob ng paaralan. Ang mga karanasan na ito ay nakaka-affect di lamang sa kanilang psychological well-being, ngunit sa kanilang mismong academic performance na rin. Yet, marami pa rin sa mga LGBTQIA students ay nakakalaban itong diskriminasyon at umaangat bilang isang academic achiever. Ngunit, according kay UMS 2018, ito ay nakikita bilang isang exceptionality rather than normalcy. Mas nakikita ito bilang kakaiba kaysa sa karaniwan. In Our Lady of Fatima University, particularly the Quezon City campus, where inclusivity and academic excellence are core values, nagiging mahalaga at nagkakaroon ng need para i-examine ang relationship between academic performance ng mga LGBTQIA students at ng kanilang level of acceptance na natatanggap mula sa peers at sa mismong institusyon na rin. Sa pagbubusisi nito ay maaaring mabigyan ng atensyon at light ang kaalaman kung ang mga environment ba ay nakaka-affect sa success ng isang estudyante. This study aims to investigate the correlation between academic performance and the level of acceptance among LGBTQIA+ academic achievers in Our Lady of Fatima University, Quezon City campus. The researcher seeks to contribute to ongoing discourse about acceptance in the institution by providing data that can help inform policies and systems in the academic space. Actually, alam nyo bang the very first known Pride March in Asia was held in the Philippines? It was way back in 1996, where people held a solidarity march in Manila. The Philippines has a deep history in advocacy for the LGBTQIA community. Lawmakers have been introducing new bills in support of the community. It's just really the federal legislation that's been putting such a hold to implementing it. With such a huge population of queer people in the country, the LGBTQIA+ community shows an outstanding rate of acceptance among Filipinos in the public. According to Westerman 2023, in a survey conducted among 1,200 adult Filipinos nationwide, 73% agreed that gays or lesbians have contributed a lot to the progress of our society. Despite this, however, reports still state that nearly 3/4 or 74% of young LGBTQ+ people in the Philippines feel that they have been discriminated against due to their sexual orientation or gender identity. This is according to the Trevor Project of 2024. Now, why is that? Pinapakita lamang nito na malawak at sobrang diverse ng experience ng bawat LGBTQIA individual sa ating bansa. Na kahit na ang DepEd gumawa na ng child protection policy para ma-address ang issues ng bullying batay sa kanilang kasarian, hindi pa rin may iwasan at naiiwasan ang mga instances na mararanasan at nararanasan nila ito. According kay Cosby et al. 2015, previous research suggests that LGBT students na open sa kanilang identity tend to perform better than academically. Marahil ito ay sa rason na kung ang identity ng isang tao ay just out there and just vulnerable, mas nararamdaman nila at mas mararamdaman nila ang pressure to compensate for their identity by being academically smart and successful in another aspect. Now, previous studies lack detailed explanation of this phenomena kasi while they may tackle the academic performance of the LGBTQIA+ community, they don't, however, provide detailed thought about the nuanced experience. Hindi nila nabibigyan ng tuos sa pansin yung mismong experience and yung pinaka provided detail nito. Ngayon, ang bagong magagawa ng study na ito ay by filling in the gaps by providing empirical and statistical evidence. With this in mind, the research seeks to identify the correlation and relationship between the two variables among LGBTQIA academic achievers in Our Lady of Fatima University, particularly again the Quezon City campus. The conclusion to be made shall give the type of relationship present on the said relationship inside the institution choice.
The statement of the problem section in this research paper serves as the core foundation of the entire study. This part clearly lays out what the researchers are trying to investigate, why it's important, and the specific questions that the study aims to answer. It sets the direction for the research and helps readers understand what the study is trying to find out. The main problem that the research want to solve is whether there is a correlation between academic performance and the level of acceptance among LGBTQIA+ academic achievers in Our Lady of Fatima University, Quezon City. In other words, the researchers want to see the level of acceptance that queer students feel in their environment has any connection on how well they perform academically. The researchers point out that even though LGBTQIA+ students may face challenges such as discrimination, lack of support, or judgment, some of them still manage to do well in school. The researchers are curious if students who feel less accepted are actually working harder to prove themselves through academic achievements. This is the core idea that the researchers want to explore. The statement includes three major research questions that guide the investigation. First is, what is the demographic profile of the students in terms of age, sex, gender identity, and academic strand? These questions help the researchers understand the background of the students they are trying to study. It provides a clear picture of the diversity within the LGBTQIA+ achievers group. Knowing who the participants are helps when analyzing whether certain trends are more common in the specific age groups or academic tracks. Second is, how does perceived acceptance affect the academic performance of the LGBTQIA+ academic achievers? The second question is very important because it looks at how students' experiences of being accepted or not accepted by their school environment, classmates, or teachers might influence their motivation, confidence, and performance in school. The researchers are trying to understand acceptance has direct or indirect effect on students' grades and academic achievements. How does perceived academic performance affect the level of acceptance felt by the LGBTQIA academic achievers in this institution? This third question flips the second one around. Instead of asking whether acceptance affects grades, it asks if being academically successful helps queer students feel more accepted by their peers or teachers. This question is based on the idea that some students might gain respect or tolerance from others simply because they are high achievers even if they are part of the marginalized group. Along with these questions, the researchers also propose hypothesis that there is a significant relationship between academic performance and the level of acceptance among LGBTQIA+ academic achievers at Our Lady of Fatima University, Quezon City. This means that the researchers believe that two variables, academic performance and the level of acceptance, are connected in some way. Either positively or negatively, the hypothesis gives the researchers something to test and prove or disapprove using the collected data during the study. To conclude, the statement of the problem section in this paper is clearly written and well structured. It provides both a general overview and specific questions to guide the study. The researchers show that they are not only interested in numbers, but also in the lived experiences of the LGBTQIA students by focusing on the relationship between acceptance and achievement. The researchers highlight an issue that is both personal and relevant in today's educational setting. This section successfully sets the stage for the rest of the paper, allowing the researchers to explore both challenges and strengths of queer students in a school environment. It also shows that the research is not just academic. It has a deeper social meaning and may help make schools more supportive and inclusive.
Chapter 3 of the study discusses the methodology used by the researchers to investigate the relationship between the academic performance and level of acceptance among LGBTQIA academic achievers. This part is important because it shows how the researchers planned and carried out the study in a systematic way, making sure that the results would be reliable and useful. The researchers used a quantitative research design. This means that the researchers collected data in form of numbers, such as scores from surveys and academic-related results. The purpose of using this method was to make sure that the findings would be objective and measurable. The researchers focused on statistics to interpret the results and draw conclusions. More specifically, the researchers used a correlational design. This kind of research does not involve changing or controlling any variables. Instead, it observes whether two or more variables are related. In this case, the researchers wanted to know if there is a relationship between how well LGBTQIA students perform in school and how accepted they feel by their peers, their teachers, and institutions. A correlational method is appropriate because the researchers were only looking for relationship and not causes. The locale of the study. This study was conducted at Our Lady of Fatima University, Quezon City campus. The researchers chose this location because it was similar and familiar to the researchers. And it was the most accessible place to carry out the research. The school was also chosen because it had a known presence of LGBTQIA students, which made it convenient for the researchers to reach the right participants. To make the survey more effective, the researchers conducted it in a peaceful and comfortable setting, allowing the respondents to answer honestly and without distractions. For the population and sampling method, the population of the study consisted of 100 senior high students who are identified as part of the LGBTQIA community and were considered academic achievers, meaning their general average was 90 and above. These students were all from the same campus and were chosen through a method called convenience sampling. Convenience sampling is a non-probability sampling method where respondents are selected based on how easily they can be reached. The researchers used this method because it allowed the researchers to access the required number of qualified respondents within a reasonable amount of time. Although convenience sampling method can lead to some bias, it was a practical choice for the researchers given the limitations of time and resources. The researchers only included respondents who were senior high school students, academic achievers, and members of the LGBTQIA community. Students who did not meet this criteria were excluded from the study. For the research instruments, the researchers collected data and used the two main research instruments, both of which are established survey tools. The first tool used is Perceived Acceptance Scale or PAS. This tool measures how much acceptance a person feels in their environment. It helps the researchers understand how LGBTQIA+ students perceive the way they are treated by their peers, faculty, and the whole school as a whole. It covers several areas, including peer acceptance, faculty and staff acceptance, institutional support, and institutional policies and culture. The second tool used is the Perceived Academic Scale or PAS. This tool lets respondents rate their own academic performance not based on their actual grades, but on how they view their success in school. This helps the researchers find out how confident and how satisfied students feel with their academic achievements. Both scales uses a 5-point like scale where respondents could choose from strongly disagree to strongly agree. This kind of scale made it easy to analyze and compare answers. Each dimension had 4 statements to give a balanced and accurate view of the students' experiences. For the ethical considerations, the researchers followed a strict ethical guideline to protect the participants and make sure that the study was fair and honest. First, the researchers prepared a letter of authorization and consent form. The participants were informed about the purpose of the study, the possible risk, and their right to withdraw at any time. Participation was completely voluntary. The researchers also made sure to maintain anonymity and confidentiality. No personal and identifying information was included in the final report. The researchers avoided plagiarism by properly citing all sources and made sure not to falsify or misinterpret any data. These steps were taken to ensure that the research was conducted with integrity and respect of all participants. For the data gathering procedure, after getting approval, the researchers contributed and distributed the survey to the chosen participants. The researchers explained that the purpose of this study and made sure all the respondents clearly understood the questions. During the survey, the researchers stayed nearby to help answers and any questions, to clarify anything that was confusing. This helped to ensure that the data collected would be accurate and complete. All the answers were checked and incomplete responses were either clarified or set aside. Depending on the situation, the researchers used both primary data or the survey responses and the secondary data, which are the previous research and literature, to support the findings and conclusions of their study.
Now, for our data analysis, we use descriptive statistics such as the mean and percentage method to summarize the average responses of participants. We also applied Pearson's R correlation coefficient to determine the strength and direction of the relationship between level of acceptance and academic performance. Now, let's begin with the demographic profile of our respondents. We gathered information such as age, strand, and their identity. Starting with age, the majority of our respondents were aged 17 years old, comprising 43% of the total, while 39% were 18 years old. In terms of their identity, most participants identify themselves as bisexual, making up of 68% of the total. Moving on to the next part of the analysis, we assess the respondents' perceived acceptance from 3 sources: peers, family, and the institution, using the weighted mean. As shown in the table, the highest mean score was from institution at 33.93, interpreted as average. This suggests that respondents feel a high level of acceptance from their school. Family had a mean of 15.55, while peers' acceptance received 14.93, both still interpreted as average. Although the total score for institutional acceptance appears highest, as it consists of 10 questions, while peers and family each have only 5. Now, to make a fair comparison, we calculated the average score per item to 5 for each category. So, 3 divided by 5, and after computing, institutional acceptance still had the highest average score per item, followed by family and peers. This indicates that acceptance is generally positive across all categories, while institution plays the most affirming role in the respondent's perception. Now, Let's move on to the academic performance of the respondents, Table 3. In this study, we did not collect the participants' actual numerical grades such as their general average or their grades report. Instead, we used a structured set of statements related to academic behaviors and self-evaluation. Among the statements in the academic performance self-report questionnaire, the item "I enjoy homework and activities because they help in improving my skills" received the highest weighted mean of 4.14. And since all our respondents are identified as academic achievers, it is not surprising that none of the self-report questionnaire items received below average score. Now, the total weighted mean generally fell within average, indicating that most respondents perceive themselves as academically capable of performing well. Moving to the table 4, we analyze the possible correlation between the respondents' level of acceptance and academic performance. The results show the person R value of 0.975, indicating a very high positive correlation between the two variables. This suggests that as the level of acceptance increases, academic performance also tends to increase. However, despite this strong correlation, the p-value was calculated at 0.386, which exceeds the common significance level of 0.05. This means that the result is not statistically significant, and we cannot conclude that the observed relationship is not due to chance. While the data indicated a strong correlation, the lack of statistical significance implies that our sample may not be sufficient to generalize this relationship to larger population. The high p-value tells us not to trust the result, which means we have to accept the null hypothesis, which says there is no significant relationship between level of acceptance and academic performance. This highlights the importance of considering both the strengths of the relationship and its significance when interpreting results. Lastly, we recommend further studies with different measurement approaches to better explore this potential relationship. That concludes our data analysis. Thank you.
For the researchers to bridge the gaps, the researchers identified the possible underlying gaps that are present in the study, which are socioeconomic status and mental health issues. Although the study's original focus was on the relationship between academic success and level of acceptance, the researchers were aware of the limitation of this one-sided viewpoint. Recognizing that academic achievement is the result of an intricate relationship between multiple factors, we purposely broadened the scope of our study to include more potential crucial variables. In particular, the researchers identified mental health concerns and socioeconomic status as important areas that needed more investigation. In addition, the researchers prioritized the study of mental health issues, recognizing a higher probability of LGBTQIA+ individuals with psychological distress due to societal pressures, stigma, and discrimination. They recognized that LGBTQIA+ students may experience particular difficulties with family support or discrimination, which can impact their level of acceptance and academic performance. While this study provides valuable insights to the correlation between the academic performance and the level of acceptance among LGBTQIA+ students, it is still crucial to acknowledge that academic success is a complex phenomenon influenced by a multitude of interacting factors. This research study focused primarily on the relationship between the level of acceptance and academic outcomes of peer students, how social acceptance can influence or affect their academic outcomes. However, the researchers prudently recommend that future investigations adopt a more holistic approach by exploring the potential influence of other significant variables. The gap of this study is that it lacks on other factors that influence the academic outcomes, not only stick on the level of acceptance or social acceptance. Future researchers can study other factors such as the socioeconomic status and mental health. Socioeconomic status can significantly impact access to resources, educational opportunities, and support systems, all of which can indirectly or directly affect academic achievement. Students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds may face challenges such as financial strain, limited access to quality education, and increased stress, which can hinder their academic progress regardless of their level of acceptance as a queer individual. Similarly, mental health plays a vital role in academic performance. LGBTQIA individuals may experience higher rates of mental health challenges, including anxiety, depression, and stress, due to factors such as discrimination, stigma, and lack of support. These mental health issues can significantly impair concentration, motivation, and overall academic functioning, and also be a factor on how they handle their academic aside from what acceptance they are getting. Therefore, future researchers should consider incorporating these variables into their analysis to provide a more comprehensive understanding of the factors that contribute to or detract from the academic success of LGBTQIA+ students. Furthermore, exploring the interplay between socioeconomic status, mental health, acceptance, and academic performance could reveal valuable insights into the complex dynamics and foster a more effective strategies and intervention to further understand this study.
Our study focused on understanding the relationship between the level of acceptance and academic performance among LGBTQIA+ academic achievers at Our Lady of Fatima University, Quezon City. We were curious to find out if students who feel more accepted perform better academically or if there's a significant connection at all. After gathering analyzing data from 100 LGBTQIA+ senior high school students, we found that most of them rated their level of acceptance as average. This means that while some feel supported by their peers, family, or school, others still experience exclusion or lack of support. When it comes to academic performance, the majority also fell under the average category, although they are already recognized as achievers. Using statistical analysis, we discover a very high positive correlation between acceptance and academic performance. But it was not statistically significant. This means that even though it looked like acceptance and performance are connected, the data did not strongly prove it as a fact for a larger group. Still, we believe that the feeling of being accepted can motivate queer students to do well in school, even if it doesn't directly cause better grades. Based on what we found in our research, we now move to our recommendations. First, we recommend the school to create and strengthen policies that protect LGBTQIA+ students from discrimination. This policy should not only exist but should be felt by the student in their daily school life. Second, we suggest that teacher and school staff be given proper training and seminars about LGBTQIA+ awareness. This will help them understand the challenge the student face and support them in a more informed and respectful way. Third, we recommend forming student support groups or safe space where LGBTQIA+ students can connect with each other, who understand them better. These groups can help students feel a sense of belonging and confidence. Fourth, we believe that holding school activity or campaign that promote acceptance will help educate the whole student about how kindness and respect can affect someone's mental health and academic performance. Fifth, we encourage the school to recognize the achievement of all students fairly regardless of their identity. Achievement should always be celebrated without bias. We also recommend providing access to counseling services, especially for LGBTQIA+ students who may be dealing with identity issues or pressure to perform just to feel accepted. Lastly, we hope that future researchers continue to explore this topic. They may focus on different school year levels or add more factors like mental health, family background, or school's type. The more we study this, the more we can improve the school experiences of LGBTQIA+ students. To conclude, the result shows that LGBTQIA+ students have unique experiences when it comes to acceptance. And while not all of them feel fully supported, many still strive to do well academically.